Hello everyone, this is the Algerian General and welcome into a new episode of the Modding Bootcamp. Today we'll be taking a look at land units, how we can add new land units. But first of all, what are units? Well, we're basically now talking about the components of a division. So the things you see in a division designer, which are battalions, which are the main units, and of course you have support companies. Now, they are actually stored here in the common units folder. Here, of course, you can see a full list of all the units. Today, we will not be getting into the unit names or division names or equipment names or equipment just yet. Sorry for that. So today, we're going to mainly talk about units. Next episode, we'll be talking about equipment and division names. So, or actually, we could talk about division names today. So first of all, let's take a look into a very, very simple unit here, say infantry. Now, first of all, you need to open up the subunit section. Without it, the unit will simply not be recognized. A unit has an ID, AI priority, active equals no. This one basically means that the unit is not available unless you have the technology for it. So if you have a technology that unlocks said unit, then you want to set it to active equals no. If I set this to yes, regardless of any technologies that you have or don't have, this unit will be already active. Type, not really sure about what type actually does. Perhaps we could just check. I guess this is what the this is actually what's used in the AI strategy. I could be wrong though. Let me see. Yep, that's technically what it is. Type is basically what's used in the AI strategies. I'm going to make a specific or like a separate video on AI strategies and how they work, but just like a small sneak peek, it's technically what's used here. Hold on. Yeah. So you see paratroopers, mountaineers, marines, armor. These are the types, the unit type here. Of course, you can have multiple types for each unit. Now you have the categories. This is mainly used for, say, when you want to apply a certain modifier via, say, a national spirit or a decision. So you want to apply it to a bunch of units or a category of units, and this is actually how you do it. Group is actually where they are grouped in the division template designer. When you usually, add a whole new regiment, you actually get a bunch of options. You have armor alone, groups alone, you have infantry, groups alone, and so on. Well, this is how it's this is basically what defines it. And if I'm not mistaken, this is stored in the common / unit tags. Oh no, this is the categories. I'm not so sure about where the groups are stored in. I'm gonna have to check later on. I don't think they have to be declared anywhere actually. Anyhow, then of course you're going to have the combat width. This is all stats. This is all unit stats. Now the way unit stats work, as far as I know, is they are basically a direct modifier to the equipment stats. Of course, there are these things like maximum organization. These are mostly tied to the unit itself, how much manpower it requires. Now, when it comes to manpower, I've actually heard that you cannot have anything lower than 25, else it's going to make the unit simply useless, right? So 25, I believe, is the minimum amount of manpower you can have in one battalion. Training time, how many days it takes to train one battalion. Suppression, weight, supply consumption. Well, supply consumption is basically how much supply it consumes. Weight is basically how much space it takes in a transport ship. So if you have like a bunch of battalions, it will use this here to calculate how many transport ships it will need. Now, need is basically how much equipment it actually needs. Now, there is something rather special here. If we go, let's scroll down, and we go into motorized, yes. So they actually have this extra part. Transport equals motorized equipment. This is interesting. This basically means or tells the game to look into the speed of the motorized equipment. It actually even says it here. This is what moves us and sets the speed. So if you don't set this, it's going to be using the exact same speed as the infantry equipment or the slowest equipment in the unit. That's the infantry equipment, and that's possibly around 4 kilometers per hour. Now, you'd be wondering, what's this? Infantry equipment. This is not the equipment. This is called an equipment archetype. Again, we'll be taking a deeper look into this in the next episode. Just for now, you need to understand that this is equipment like It's not actual equipment, it is an equipment archetype, which is something that contains the equipment. That's all you need to know for now. One of the modifiers you could apply is basically modifiers when it comes to the terrain and the behavior of that specific unit in that specific terrain, modifying its attack, defense, movement, points, and so on. If you're looking for a full list of terrains, that's right here in common terrain, and you should find a whole list of those right here. However, I'm fairly certain there's like an extra category for forts. Then again, I could be wrong. Now, mechanized. Now, I want to show you something. Some units have something called, there we go, essential and needed. So needed is the equipment this unit needs, but essential, it basically, tells the game, okay, this is what is necessary, extremely necessary for the unit to behave in a correct way. Now, there's actually a post or a question, essential versus need in subunits file. Now, if I scroll down, there's like an amazing explanation by Zwirek on the Paradox forums. As you could see, motorized infantry have only need, while mechanized have essential for the mechanized infantry equipment. So with setting up divisions that only have infantry equipment, we get the following stats. So both are, well, this is a motorized, this is mechanized. I believe they both have the same combat width, and they only have infantry equipment. As you could notice, this one has mechanized equipment as essential, and you can see how bad the stats are. While if you look here, they don't have motorized as essential, it's just needed. And it's only used for transport, so you can see that this is a whole lot better than this. Now, this was, I believe, mainly used for balancing reasons. That's why you cannot just pump mechanized units and just, without mechanized equipment. Here you can, of course, see the way it behaves. This is the mechanized unit. It's, fighting at 9% only of its actual strength. But that's pretty much how it works. Let's see. I believe that is actually all for units. When it comes to units, it's actually all you will ever need to know. There is the other stuff, which are support companies. Now, they're actually units. They actually are in the same folder, almost the same syntax, except they have some differences here and there. First of all, they're groups under support. Their type is also set to support. And I believe this is the only difference. These are, of course, the modifiers that actually has like the casualty, trickle back, and so on, but yeah. Now, let's keep looking, shall we? Back to the units folder. There are two folders to see. Well, equipment is, as I've said, we'll be taking a look at that in the next episode. But for now, we'll be taking a look into names and name divisions. So first of all, names. Names, if we take a look at the German one, is basically the names used by, well, ships and air squadrons or air wings. So as you can see here, the air wings, this is old stuff. As far as I know, they possibly have deleted this stuff already. But they actually moved this from the names folder to the names division. But this is basically what contains the names for, say, strategic bombers is actually what they're called, naval bombers, that kind of stuff. Now we're going to be taking a look into something else. Oh, before I can actually continue, there's a second type of units, or a third type of units. So the second one is actually ships. They're handled a bit differently, as you could notice. So if you actually make ships as an actual equipment, say a completely new class, say for instance escort carriers, then you have to make a unit for them. You can see, of course, the map icon category, priority, active, type, and what equipment it needs. Now, you cannot really add any more equipment here. As far as I know, you just need to keep it simple like this, else it's going to cause some issues, aka crashes. Supply consumption, I'm not so sure. I don't really remember that ships used supplies. Maximum organization. Let's keep looking. The third type of units are the air units. So you can see they're kind of defined in the same way as ships. If you add like a whole new type of units or aircrafts, say a jet naval bomber or whatever, then this is the way to set it. Let's keep looking, shall we? Now, name division. Now, these are basically what we call division name lists. This is a new feature in the 1.5 patch. We're going to be taking a look into Germany. So, there's actually a nice explanation here, which is really good. So this is the way it's done. They actually have them, or each name list has a ID. It actually has a name for countries, so the countries can use it. Can use is basically whatever triggers needs to be met. So if I want, for instance, to make this list here only usable for fascist, you just add has government equals fascism. Division types is basically the division type that you can see here, I believe. And the fallback name is basically, when this list has been depleted, this is what you need to go. There's at least a format. D is basically the number of the unit. Names with numbers, only one number per entry. It's okay to have gaps in numberings. So, the first and second, and, well, this is basically the way it works. Lichte Infantry Division, these are the Luftwaffe field units. I kind of don't see a point of having them here, but alright. Marine Infantry Division. Well, yeah, it even has like an explanation of the units here. Which units he included and which units he didn't. This is the late/alternative infantry list. So using, say, the Volksgrenadier division names and so on. You have the light infantry, which are basically the Jäger divisions. You have the motorized units, infantry division motorized. These are, what's the difference? This is actually for democratic countries. This is not. This basically includes the SS, as you could see. Panzergrenadier divisions, and so on. So this is the way you can actually set your own custom name list, and I can actually show you a very neat example here. This is, I believe, the I'm not so sure. Oh, this is for French-speaking countries, so like Haiti or Congo and so on. They're actually going to use French names. Interesting. Division types. As I've said, this is all that you can see in the division type menu. But yeah, this is the way you can do it. Simple, isn't it? This is a link numbering with. So this is basically linked with what exactly? Right, so for instance, let's say we're going to go to that one that they're mentioning here. Yeah, French Infantry 01. So this list, so the numbering. So let's say I have the 5th or 5e Division d'Infanterie. 5e means 5th. Don't bother about it. So we have this here. If I actually change its template to use, say, the garrison, or a division template that uses the garrison name list, then it's going to keep the same name or the same number. It's going to be 5e Division d'Infanterie de Garrison. Simple, right? That's the way it works. Let's see here. I believe that is indeed going to be all for today. I really hope you enjoyed and learned some stuff about this video, or some stuff about units. Sorry for that. Kinda, yeah. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. Subscribe, of course, if you want to see more of this kind of content. I'll be making even more videos nowadays since I'm a bit, a bit free. Although I have finals coming up very soon. Hope you guys have an amazing day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.